In this video, we're going to look at some expressions as part of fractions and factorizing those expressions so that we can simplify them. So up to this point, you should be able to identify a highest common factor, you should be able to factorize quadratics, and you should be able to use the rules, the difference of two squares, the difference of two cubes, and the sum of two cubes. And what you're going to do is apply those here to the numerator and denominator, and then you should be able to simplify after you've got it factorized. So let's take a look at this first question here. It's 7y plus 2y squared. These two values, or these two expressions, have y in common. So I'm going to factorize y out, and then I have 7 plus 2y left over. On the bottom, there's no other term to compare it to, so it's just 7y. But what I do have is y being multiplied in on the top and y being multiplied in on the bottom. If we have a value on the bottom or as the denominator, it is actually dividing into everything on the top. So another way that I could write this and represent this would be y into 7 plus 2y divided by 7y. So just another way of thinking about it. And if I have here y multiplied by this, and then y being divided into all of that, because it is being divided in here, what we can do is eliminate them, because they're actually undoing each other. So it's like saying multiply this number by 2, divide it by 2. You're back to the same number. If we take a look at the next question here, so 7, a to the power of 6, b to the power of 3. There isn't a second term in the expression on the numerator to compare it to, but if we look on the bottom, there is something that we can start to compare it to. So the highest common factor in terms of the number first would be 7. So I could take 7 out. They both have a in common, and remember we're looking for the highest common factor. So actually a to the 5 divides into both those. So I'm going to take out 7a to the 5 on top, and then b goes into both, and also we could go up as far as b cubed goes into both. And what I would be left over with is I would have 1, I would have an a, and no b. So I would have 7a to the 5 b cubed by 1a. If I was to factorize out the exact same thing on the bottom, what I would be left with in the bracket here is I would have 2, because we'd have to have 2 by 7 to give us our 14. The a to the 5 is okay, but the b would have to be in the bracket here. The b to the power of 1 to give us b to the power of 4. Again, when we have a fraction, this part is actually dividing into that. And if you have this being multiplied by it and then it's being divided in on the bottom, they're undoing each other. So actually they're going to drop out. It's as if we never dealt with them. And what we're left with then is a all over 2b. The last one then looks trickier, but all it is applying those rules of factorizing that we would have looked at already. So between these two, what are the highest common factors? The highest common factor is 2z. If I look at the numerator first, so 2z, and that's going to be then multiplied by z, because I still have to have another z in there to get z squared, minus 4z, which could actually just multiply by 2. So 2z multiplied by 2 will give us 4z. On the bottom then we have 2z squared minus 10z. Again, the highest common factor is 2z. And then we're going to have our 2z squared. So again, I need to have a z. And then minus 10z. 2z multiplied by minus 5 inside here. Once again, if I'm multiplying on the top by 2z and dividing in on the bottom by 2z, those are going to end up undoing each other. So they drop out and we're just left with z minus 2 all over z minus 5. And that's the beginning of looking at simplifying fractions.